Today we're changing the tranny fluid in this 2022 CRV. It's a CVT transmission. It requires 4.5 quarts. It's an all-wheel drive. We'll be using this HCF-2 is what the manufacturer calls for. It calls for 4.5 quarts. We have 5 quarts. It also requires us to change the compression washer on the drain plug, and we have that. First thing we want to do is get the car jacked up and get it level on jack stands. Let's get started. Now that we have the car jacked up, level, and on jack stands, we need to remove this protector plate on the bottom side of the engine so we can get access to the transmission. It's held up by Phillips head screws. So you just go around and unscrew them and the plate should come right off. Phillips head screws. Let's get it done. To reiterate what I was talking about, the 2 Phillips heads were on the front. You unscrew those all the way out. On the sides around the rest of the metal protector shield underneath is a flat head, and it only requires a half a turn. So you just go around and just do a half a turn on the Phillips head, and it pops right off. And once I go all the way around, the shield should come right off. Now that we have that bottom protector plate off, we need to identify the drain plug and the check plug for the tranny, and it'll be the opposite of the engine oil. The engine oil is here. The tranny CVT will be on the driver's side. And right there is a 3/8 drive ratchet connection for the drain plug. And when we replace that drain plug, we need to replace the compression washer on it, which we have. And then we have a 12mm check bolt up there, so we know when it's full. The first thing we want to do before we start draining is to pull the plug on top and find it. Now we need to take the cap off of the fill hole for the tranny, and it is right there. You can see it down there. We're going to pull that so it breathes properly and oil won't splash all over the place, and it'll drain really nice. So let's go ahead and pull that. Now that we have the fill cap removed so it'll drain properly and get proper airflow, let's go ahead and put our 3/8 drive on here. I don't have a breaker bar per se with a 3/8 drive attachment, so if I can't get this loose, I got a bar I can attach to the end. Let's go ahead and pop the drain plug loose, and we can't get it broke, so we're going to attach our little breaker bar here to the end of our ratchet and break it loose just like that. And now that it's loose, we can go ahead and take that off, put our oil pan under it, and start draining the oil. After pulling the drain plug on the transmission, you can see the magnet on the end is doing its job. You can see the metal grime that's on the end of it. So it's doing a really good job. And all we want to do is we want to clean that off. So we'll go ahead and clean it off and get ready to fill it up and put it back in. Now that our oil is drained out of the tranny pretty much, and we took off the old crush washer off the drain plug, got the drain plug cleaned off, put the new crush washer on. Let's go ahead and thread it on, and we're going to torque it to 36 foot-pounds. Now that we have our drain plug torqued to 36 pounds, let's go ahead and get our funnel in. You're going to need a long funnel to reach down to the hole. So let's put our funnel in the fill hole. Now that we got our funnel in the fill hole, we're going to go ahead and start adding tranny fluid. We're going to go ahead and put in 4 quarts of HCF-2. Now that we got 4 quarts in it, we're going to go ahead and put our foot on the brake, start it, and then we're going to run through all the gears. We just want to make sure that oil is embedded throughout the transmission so we don't get a false reading. So we're going to run through all the gears, leave our foot on the brake, reverse, drive, second, and low. Just pause for a minute as you go through the gears. And then finally in park. I'm going to go ahead and shut it off. And now we're going to top it off with the last half a quart. And then we'll take our check plug out and see where we're at. Now that we've ran through the gears and make sure our transmission is saturated with our oil, we'll go ahead and add our last half quart of transmission fluid. And then we'll pull our check plug and see if we're full. Now that we added our last half quart, let's take our 12 millimeter wrench and loosen our check plug and make sure oil comes out of it to see if we're full. Oh, oil's not coming out of it yet, not quite. So we're going to go ahead and put this back in. We're going to add a little bit more. Let's see if we're full now. Take the plug back out. Yep, we got oil coming out. Go ahead and put the plug back in. Tighten her up. Get the shield back on. Lower the car and we'll call it a day. Now that the tranny fluid is full, our check bolt is tight, our drain plug is tight, our fill plug is on and tight. We ran through the gears. Before we got the car lowered back down to the ground, before we put the bottom plate back on, we're going to go for a little drive around the block. And then we're going to pull it back in the garage and we're going to check for leaks real quick. And then we'll put the bottom guard back on the bottom side of the engine and we'll call it a day. But that's how you change tranny fluid in a 2022 CRV.